And welcome into the newest installment of The Table here at Muskogee Media. And today, guys, I am joined with Sterling Cosper, Darren DeLon, and of course Jessica McBride. We are talking about the show of shows here at Muskogee Creek Nation, the annual festival. 2016, this is number 42. Rolling up here, guys, and very excited, as we always are here at Muskogee Media, because I don't know if everybody knows this, but we're such a huge part of the festival as far as just being out there and bringing it to the folks that can't actually physically come. We're putting up pictures, we're putting up videos, we're trying to give everyone the festival experience. So it's honestly the biggest weekend, the busiest weekend of our lives every year. So we have a lot of work to do. First things first, though, an official letter out of the office of the principal chief this morning, James Floyd, indicating that before the Creek Nation has adopted 2 CFR Part 225 for allowable and unallowable costs for all programs per the comprehensive annual budget legislation. Now, to break that down in layman's terms, they basically said no more spending on promotional items, T-shirts, stuff like that, giveaway stuff like that. That's kind of difficult for the festival because that's a big part of it. Mm-hmm. Promotional items, the booths, the informational setup at the Omniplex. So the chief sends down an official letter authorizing tribal programs that set up booths at the Omniplex to purchase promotional items to be able to hand out at the festival. Crisis averted there. And actually, if you're a federally funded program, you have to look into your respective agency whether you can get the promotional items too. So, but all tribally funded programs that have a booth set up out at the festival, same song, as always, it's going to be promotional items and stuff like that. So, did anybody have anything to say about the letter that came down?
Well, it's a big deal for us, man, because this year we've done a rebranding. We also have our freedom of press to tout, so it would have been an awful shame if we weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah, and we had a lot of things already planned for promotional. I mean, that was going to be really the biggest thing that we were doing this year at the festival was promotional.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see if this holds just for this year or what comes to be, at next year's festival, too.
And I know Darren was disappointed. He didn't think he was going to get the plug-in chargers from the Department of Health or
That's
something
what I was hoping for.
Right,
That's my go-to.
Go out there and get some of those promotional items. Okay, guys, the festival, as we say, there's so many different things that you can do, so many different events, some things new that were once old, as we talked about right before we came on air with some of the events, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. But we start off with this past weekend. The festival was actually kicked off. You look at it from a point of view of this thing goes all month, and the first weekend of June, the scholarship pageants. We just crowned our new royalty for this year, and then it rolls on into the next weekend with the slow pitch softball, the 3-on-3 basketball. Hopefully, we're bringing a 3-on-3 basketball championship to Muskogee Media.
Yes.
We'll have more as that unfolds, but anything you guys particularly look forward to each year? Jessica, we just announced the entertainment too, so that was something that we had waited on.
Yeah, I think everybody, from what I'm hearing, is really excited about the entertainment. On Friday night, we've got B.J. Thomas and Lee Greenwood, and then on Saturday night, we've got Blues Traveler and Brett Michaels, and they're going to have fireworks shows after both nights. Both nights.
Okay, it's always been one night before, so both nights, that's neat. It's always good for us putting together the video, getting that fireworks shot, so that's great there. What about you, Sterling? Anything that caught your eye as you look at the events or the way it's going to be handled this year?
Well, for me personally, what stands out every year as far as enjoyment's concerned is photography. And you talk about us reporting to the citizens that weren't able to attend, but also that's a big part of acting as a memento for those that were at the festival.
Right.
My two particular favorites and ones I like to shoot are rodeo and the bow shoot because they present a unique challenge. They're very fast-paced events, but they can generate some very stunning images.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but rodeo is usually the event that will produce even some award-winning shots, right?
You always got to compete with those Navajo every year.
Oh, yeah, those Dene, I tell you what. What about you, Darren? Be taking some photos and stuff like that?
Photos, but really working the radio show on that Friday. And the reason why I said that is because we're going to switch it, of course, from Wednesday to to that Friday, we're going to be right there within the Claude Cox Omniplex. And I know we're going to do an opener, but then after that, like
Live
with
show?
a segment, I got to gun it down to the Harmon Stadium for the Junior Olympics.
Junior Olympics,
Yeah.
you've been a big part of that. I'm glad you mentioned that. Gary Fife, yourself, Muskogee Radio Show, doing a live remote from the festival. That's going to be a thing too, as well as us. We're going to be doing some live shows and some shots in where we're going to be bringing people in, talking about the events as they unfold. Just sort of each year we try to go, how do we take it to another step, and how do we maybe bring more of the experience, as I talked about. And this year we have such a great forum for it with our new website and the newness of that and driving a lot of people to that. So it's going to be neat. Another thing, Jessica, every year in the past few years in October, around that area in the fall, I know we've had the big Hall of Fame ceremony. That's now gone. We're going back to Living Legends at the festival.
We've had, I've looked at several newspaper issues from the past. I mean, from the 70s, 80s, 90s, up until now. And two things interested me. We used to have the Living Legends during the festival, and we also used to have a tennis tournament.
Yeah.
Both of those are back this year.
Yeah, the tennis tournament from like the grand old glory days of tennis in the 70s. You know, you had Jimmy Connors, McEnroe, Billie Jean King, you know, that whole golden age of tennis, Martina Navratilova, and then now you had the boom of tennis back in those days. I think it might have been Floyd Bells. I think he does a lot of the Native American tennis tournaments and stuff like that. And maybe he's the one that's coordinating this, bringing it back to Creek Nation. I'll have to look into that. I should probably know that. But that's neat, and I imagine it'll be here at the courts in Okmulgee, in the city, at the city park. So a lot of people around for all those sports and things like that. Live entertainment, as we said, just announced probably, a week and a half ago?
Yeah, it was a little unusual this year, and folks are really starting to speculate as to maybe budget constraints or something like that, but it just turned out to be a last-minute thing with contractual deal, and they ended up rolling them out, and we got in this last edition.
Somebody needed an entire jar of just green M&Ms. The poor T&R crew over there, the poor tourism recreation crew over there having to pick out every blue M&M, put it in here and jar in here. No, if anybody that out there knows that you work with entertainment, it's strange when you get into those contracts and some of the demands and things like that, and the delay of announcing. But Sterling, that's a great point, because we do hear all the chatter of, there's a budget shortfall, and we're having to make tie up loose ends and everything with monies. We haven't heard anything. Maybe we won't get big time access. That is not the case. Blues Traveler, I mean, just from a personal standpoint, Blues Traveler, that's going to be a big draw. Not to say that any of the other ones won't, but they certainly have a niche, audience and a crowd that's going to come watch them.
It's the 90s kids at the table.
Yeah, man, that's true. We all are. So not to age us and all, but and Brett Michaels, certainly, hopefully he'll do some of his Poison stuff. But I'm sure a lot of it'll be, this is one off my new one, and everybody groans collectively.
Oh, right. He's no stranger to the acoustic guitar. But, those touring musicians can be something else. I'm sure they'll have no trouble.
Yeah. We talk about the festival as a fun time as well. All the sporting events and stuff like that, as well as, just the leisure activity itself. But really, I think it's meant to be more of like a homecoming where everybody comes together from shooting, and being out there and getting shots and everything like that. Do you kind of feel that that's the case? I mean, that's the kind of the feeling you get from being around everyone?
Well, Jessica, you did People on the Street type deal one
That's
year.
right.
Was that last year?
And a lot of people come in, I had one family that came in for their family reunion. They schedule it around the festival every year.
That's right,
Yeah, and therein lies why we wanted to, once we found out who the talent was, wanted to give people as much notice as possible to make travel arrangements.
Right.
If that was kind of hinging on, are we going to be able to do this year? Do we want to go through the scheduling and all that?
Yeah.
So the more we can get out about it as soon as possible, the better, I think.
Yeah, the 42nd year, you think about that, that's a long time. The festival is older than any of us.
Yep.
And it started out as just a rodeo. It was just they wanted to do a rodeo, and they said, let's have an all-Indian rodeo. And then it just grew off of that. Then they said, let's start having softball games, and the softball games were at Henrietta, at Reeves Park there, and it's evolved and developed with the nation's infrastructure, really, too, of building the Omniplex and making that a spot and the stage and everything like that. But just being a part of it from not only a citizen's perspective but also working it, it's weird because we don't really get the same experience working it because we're so busy, right?
Well, it seems like they've even made like structural changes every year. Like they had the green room for the talent like 2 years ago. I think they added this year. We've got the splash pad.
That's right, splash pad for the kids.
Exactly.
Have you taken the little one out there to the splash pad?
Cyan,
She's not the little one.
she's not little anymore. So I doubt she'd rather go to like swimming pools instead of like having water.
She's over the splash
pad.
pad.
I think she's over all that.
Yeah.
But it's very popular. It got pretty popular pretty quick.
We saw people out there today, and I was like, why didn't you just wait till it rained?
You're gonna have a hard time keeping me away from that towards the end of this.
Oh yeah,
Pushing little kids down.
Keep the bandana wet.
That's
make
right.
Sure you got it cooled off. It's going to be hot, I think. I mean, what's scary to me is it's going to just be muggy and rain coming through this whole month, and then it kind of just bakes you. But people that come to the festival know what it's all about. You're either going to get rained on or you're going to be extremely hot. I mean, there's your two choices right there. So
both.
Yeah, and everybody out there, stay hydrated. Remember to bring water with you. There's plenty of places out there to get something to drink, something to eat, things like that. But make sure you bring something with you because you just never know whenever you're going to need, a quick drink of water or something like that to keep you hydrated.
I don't know if they're going to, I have to confirm this with emergency management, but at one time they did have those cool tents.
Right, yes, they got the cool tents out.
At the entrance of the Omniplex.
Those will be out again for sure, and they have a medical personnel team on hand, ready and willing for anything like that. And also a light horse presence. Last year we saw the mobile command unit out there. We even did a story. You talked with them about it and how it works.
New feature last year.
Yeah, in response to some of the security issues that we had in the previous year.
Yeah.
And I believe that that they felt like that was sort of a good fix to that. Of course, you can't in anything where there's a large crowd, you're never going to be able to stop or prevent things from, just sort of cropping up in different spots or things that are, people aren't going to want to be a part of. But at the same time, if you can have that presence out there, I think it kind of shields it a little bit, or at least deters that kind of behavior a little bit. So that's great. Want to remind everyone out there, creekfestival.com, www.creekfestival.com. That will give you everything you need. It will give you a lineup of the events. It will give you a calendar to look at the days that they're on so that you can plan. It will also give you times. It will give you forms to fill out to get in some of these events. So it's basically got everything you need right there on that site. We on MuskogeeMedia.com, we will have a lot of information for you there as well. Of course, you're watching us here on the table. You'll get a lot of information that we're putting out. And so it all gets started, as we said, this past weekend. It got kicked off with the scholarship pageant. Moving on to this next weekend, we'll be having the golf tournament, slow pitch softball, basketball, and then, guys, we didn't even talk about it. The Thursday night, when the official festival starts, the festival weekend, the Stomp Dance kicks everything off, and there's always a great crowd, evidenced by the fact that they always run out of food. I think I've been the last 3 years and haven't got to eat one time. So I'm obviously still bitter about it, you know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I mean, I know you guys probably will have somebody out there paper presents at the Stomp Dance.
Stomp Dance is a big deal for us. If you haven't noticed, our masthead has consistently been Stomp Dance photos from last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal. It's kind of, if we had to pick one image that encapsulates the whole event, it's probably going to be that one.
Yeah, and look for the old helicopter out as well this year. That's when we get a lot of our helicopter shots and stuff like that. And I would say, just if we have an audience now, that if you come out and you see us with the helicopter, yes, look at it. I mean, I know it's not normal to see somebody flying a helicopter around or something like that, getting the drone shots, but if you could not, come stand directly under it and everybody point up, oh, all the kids, it's a tough, to do because, you never know. I mean, it's technology, it can fail, and that thing weighs a lot, and it falls from the sky. We're not going to be responsible for accidents or anything
Well,
like
I think
that.
the first year you guys had out, what was it, like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully
yeah.
folks are a little more acquainted and used to seeing drones.
I
out and
think
about.
drones have become a little bit more, not such a novelty now, not such a, oh my gosh, I've never seen one. So, and hopefully, we've seen other people come out there with them as well, that shoot and things like that. So,
Also, you folks mind our airspace.
right, yes. Yes, see the regulations on MuskogeeMedia.com about airspace. No. But it's all going down, Claude Cox Omniplex. You do not want to miss this year's festival. The 42nd year happening in Altmalgi, one of our biggest events of the year, the biggest event of the year if you talk about just in grand scale and size and just everything going on at one time. So it's going to be a lot of fun. As I said, already kicked off with the pageant, but really everything starts that Thursday, June 23rd. That's when we have the big festival weekend kicks off on all throughout that weekend. And there'll be, the only thing happening on the last day, Sunday, will be the remainder of the Fast Pitch Tournament, and a lot of people watch that too. So keep it with us, MuskogeeMedia.com, and keep it with CreekFestival.com for all things Muskogee Creek Nation Festival in its 42nd year. Guys, thanks for talking about it today with me, and rapping a little bit about all that goes on. I know some of us are excited, some of us dread it. No, I'm just kidding. No, some of us go, oh man, I am not going to be able to take 5 minutes to just kind of collect myself. That's not true. I'm exaggerating just a little bit. There's times where we can kind of go get a turkey leg or something like that or whatever. Turkey leg?
Turkey leg.
All right, good.
Yes.
Lean meat, right?
Very.
Good stuff. All right. Well, guys, thanks for being with me talking about the festival. And we will have, as I said, keep it with MuskogeeMedia.com, CreekFestival.com. Until next time, this has been The Table.